So my first thoughts when I was asked about this project in the beginning. So when Mrs. Nelson first approached me about this, it was really perfect timing. The elementary had had some discussions about purchasing some science materials or creating our own to meet the new requirements of the state standards. And we ultimately decided we were going to create our own, which I thought would be a little bit overwhelming for our staff because not everyone is an expert in science. I know I certainly am not. And they already have so much on their plate. I hated to add to it. Building a whole new curriculum and materials around our state standards was going to be overwhelming. So when she mentioned this as an opportunity, I loved the idea of potentially taking a little off of the teachers' plates, but more so really loved giving our high school students that want to go into the field of education an opportunity to teach in the classroom.
As a high school science teacher, I am super excited about the new science standards. I think that they get us away from just regurgitation of facts to really investigating, inquiry, problem solving. So I'm excited about them. However, I know that for elementary teachers who already have a lot on their plate, for them to teach in this new way, which is different than any of us learned in high school.
This past summer, Danica Nelson and Just Bland approached us about this idea that they had for Amaya and McKenna to do some individualized learning, and I thought it was a great idea.
My biggest concerns were, what do I use? Where do I find the curriculum? How do I know what the kids are going to want to do? And how do I talk to Maya, because we didn't always work on it together because we weren't doing it in the same class.
My biggest concerns were finding time to work with McKenna and what the kids' reaction would be to me teaching in the classroom.
I thought it went pretty good, being as they didn't really have any experience with kiddos, and we were all getting our feet wet learning the ins and outs of this program.
In the first week, I did not know what to expect, and the kids were very hesitant at first, and they did not want to talk to me, and they're very quiet. After that, weeks passed, and the kids really got to know me, and I really got to know them, and we just had fun in the classroom, and they talked to me, and they were curious, and they really enjoyed the project, so we did.
Mrs. Nelson kind of set it up for us to do is Maya would go in and teach, and I would kind of plan and get things prepped and ready. And that was a big concern of mine. I didn't want to have to reinvent things and restart things. But Mrs. Nelson found Mystery Science, which was great. We used it the whole first semester. It had great videos and experiments and things like that for the kids to be very interactive with, which we loved.
The kids loved it too.
Yeah, it gets their attention really easily. But we came to the second semester and we didn't really know what to do. So Mrs. Nelson emailed the ESU2 people, and they got back to us, and they said that many people have used Generation Genius, and we said, all right, let's give it a shot. And we loved it. The kids
the best.
Loved it. They had videos. They could read, and they loved to read on the iPads because it was on an iPad. Shocking. And they had everything planned out for us. They had teacher guide, lesson plans, everything.
I love their activities. We would do their activities on the ending days of the week, and it would really be something to look forward to for the kids.
Yeah. Being high schoolers, there has been many challenges with this first grade science for us to plan. From just in the very first weeks, we were sitting in the library and we were planning on doing these things, and Miss J looks at us and she goes, "Are you sure a first grader is going to be able to do that?" And we're like, "Oh, right. We can do this, but I don't know if a first grader can." So that was something we had to work through.
This process has been a major learning experience. It will be really helpful to me in the future when I go to college and have to do all these classes, and I'll just be that one step ahead of everyone else because I'll already have this experience, and I'm really grateful for that.
Would I do it again next year or in the future? Absolutely. I 100% would do this. I would love to do it and keep adding grade levels to this project because I think the teachers really loved it. The kids really loved it. Really, there wasn't any negatives or cons to this program. So I would definitely recommend it to anybody that wants to do this. We are certainly glad we did it, and we hope to see this program expand.
Yes, absolutely. I think overall this was a fantastic process and opportunity for not only Maya and McKenna, but for the first graders as well as me being their regular classroom teacher. I got the opportunity to observe my students from the outside looking in, and I got to have some personal reflection on what activities they were most engaged in and how I could use that for my regular classroom teaching as well. Maya and McKenna to be able to have this experience before even stepping foot in a college classroom is huge. I think back to when I was in college, and I think my first classroom experience wasn't until I was a sophomore. And even then, it was basically create one lesson and teach it. I didn't get to see the whole timeline from the beginning of the year to the end of the year and how kids change and what I can do to change the way I approach teaching and that kind of stuff. So that is an invaluable experience for them. I think that we now also out of it have a successful science curriculum that we can use again next year, and I definitely would do this again.
We would like to just say a great thank you to Mrs. Nelson and Mrs. Bland for making this possible and coming up with the idea, and thank you to the teachers who have been so amazingly helpful to me as being able to communicate with them and things that they have and don't have. I would just like to say thank you so much. You have given me an experience that I will never get anywhere else.
I would like to say thank you to everyone as well. Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. Wenderlow, thank you for letting me be a part of your classroom and teaching your kids for a part of the day. And Mrs. Nelson making this all happen, and Mrs. Bland being involved and getting us the supplies that we need. Thank you for this opportunity, and I hope to see it happen in the future.